First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. Thanks for joining us. We're live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. We're here every weekday throughout the afternoon. And thanks for being here. And today we're talking about something, depending if you're watching live, this is coming up this Sunday, and that is the Seattle Seahawks in the championship for the national conference. And this is going to be something that, it's pretty big, taking on the LA Rams. Is that going to be their trip to the Super Bowl? But more importantly, is there going to be seismic activity? That's what we're going to be talking about, because this is something that has happened before. You all know Beast Quake. Last weekend, Shahid's touchdown, and maybe even Taylor Swift. But seismic activity seems to be generated from Lumen Field, and we're going to talk about the organization that actually monitors that and how this all happens. Joining us right now from the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, we have Harold. Harold, thank you for being here. NFC Championship coming up this weekend. A good chance, if things go accordingly, to maybe hear some more seismic activity. But I'd love to know how this all started, where this idea came from to put seismic monitors on the field there.
Yeah, for us, at least in the Northwest, it really started in 2011 with what became known as the Beast Quake. There was that playoff game then, and Marshawn Lynch had that unbelievable, I think, 68-yard run, something like that, that a former director of the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network basically took a look at a seismic station that we had as part of our regular network for monitoring earthquakes across the street from the stadium, and noticed that you could easily see the signal of just the whole stadium essentially, you could say, bouncing up and down from the crowd getting fired up as that run took place. And that ended up on the front page of the Seattle Times, and we were able to kind of make that connection between seismic shaking and the crowd in the stadium. So what we did was enhance that with some of the playoff games that came in a few years after that, and put some instruments actually right in the stadium. And that's what we're doing again here in 2026.
So are those instruments there at all times, or is this something that you you go back and forth with?
Yeah, this is new. So we've only done it for playoff games. There hasn't been a playoff game with fans in the stands for quite a while, since I think 2016 or 15, because there was 2020, but there was nobody there because of the pandemic. So this is really the first opportunity to do it in a long time. We placed the instruments just about a week ago Monday. We got in touch with the Seahawks when we realized they were going to the playoffs, and they were fired up about it, just as we were, to let us place these 6 different stations, and we're actually hoping to put a 7th in before Sunday's game as well.
So let's talk about these different stations. So you're going to have up to 7 different stations, and these are going to be at different locations. So what exactly are they monitoring for? Is it for like people jumping up and down? Does the sound actually help cause any of this?
Yeah, it's not really the sound. The 12s, as the fans are called, are famous for bringing the noise. What they also do, though, is they create literal seismic shaking, ground shaking. And that is mostly from people in their seats, jumping up and down, getting excited. They bang on the chairs, all of the things that can actually transmit some of those vibrations, some of those waves directly into the stadium structure itself and the ground. So we've got a station that's actually at field level on the actual ground itself, or on concrete that's right on the ground. Then we have 4 of them up at the 300 deck level of Lumen Field. And then we have 1 that's all the way up at the top of the Hawk's Nest, that very large structure with a video screen on it that's at one end of the stadium there. That's Hawk 6 there. And there you go. There's the image of it. So that thing shakes like crazy because it's way up at the top of this tower. So you can imagine it kind of vibrates even more than other things. Even though there's not a crowd up there, it's really transmitting kind of the feeling, the shaking of the whole stadium. But that's really just 68,000 people jumping up and down is what we're fundamentally recording.
So when you have 68,000 people, when you have 68,000 people jumping up and down, what kind of an earthquake does that translate into as far as, how big that is?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little cautious to give it an earthquake magnitude itself because it's not an earthquake, right? It's a little bit different situation with the stadium vibrating like that. But I can say 2 things. One is that we compared the shaking at the position of Lumen Field to a real earthquake that happened back in 2025, a 3.2 about 20 miles away, near Bremerton, Washington. The shaking at the stadium is about the same as the shaking we get from that nearby 3.2. So it's something like a magnitude 3 earthquake in our general vicinity of Seattle. So that's one yardstick. And then the other thing we can just say is that it shakes strong enough to create a very big signal on our instruments. And, you know, that's the kind of ground motion. They're the exact same instruments we use to monitor for real earthquakes all the time.
Is there any concern about that at all? About that much jumping up and down?
Yeah, you know, fortunately, the structural engineers who design these stadiums are good at their jobs, and I think there is no danger whatsoever. They do take into account, you know, what the crowd is going to be like in every big stadium in the country. So no, there's no danger from it. It's not an actual earthquake, but it is shaking of the stadium and the ground that's all around it. You know.
How valuable is this data that you're getting from this, as far as translating that into, you know, any kind of a use for science?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, we're not really doing it for, you know, advancing our earthquake science. Our job on a day-to-day basis is not only monitoring for earthquakes, but also making people across the whole Pacific Northwest aware that we have seismic hazard, and that even though most of the time, fortunately, we're not feeling any earthquakes, that the risk is out there and we have to prepare for it. So for me, this is mostly, you know, an outreach effort, just a way to connect something everybody's passionate about and excited about into, you know, thinking about, yeah, the seismic network is out there. We're monitoring 24/7, even if you're not thinking about it.
And you mentioned talking about that equipment that you have there. So that equipment is some of the same stuff that you actually use, like, out in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network operates over 700 seismometers across the states of Washington and Oregon. And those are there to keep us safe, basically, so that we know about earthquakes when they happen and can help assess how likely they are, and also to do the earthquake early warning, what we call shake alert system people have heard about or maybe even experienced receiving an earthquake warning on their phone. It's the same exact equipment. That little green box you see right there is a standard professional, what we call a strong motion seismometer. And yeah, we're just using all our regular stuff in a little bit different way.
That's got to be a lot of fun at the end of the day, just being at the game and being able to do that.
Yeah, it's fantastic for us, of course. It's a great opportunity. And we loved doing it with the Mariners because they went to the playoffs, and now we're really enjoying it with the Seahawks. We're looking forward to Sunday and the championship game. And then, of course, we'll have to, you know, we'll have to try and see if we can get into Santa Clara for the Super Bowl. That might be a little bit more difficult to ask, but we'd do it if they would let us.
Okay, I have one other question. Have you ever measured the seismic activity at a Taylor Swift concert?
Oh, of course, absolutely. We didn't put instruments in the stadium for Taylor Swift here in Seattle, but that same station we have across the street that I mentioned before did make some nice recordings. And not just Taylor Swift, we actually also recorded data when Beyonce came, and I forget who all, Ed Sheeran, I think, maybe the Rolling Stones. And you know, it's a different animal, right? Because when people are in the stands and dancing to the music, and that's their main focus, they shake in a little bit different way, a little more rhythmic, and certainly sustained continuously for longer. You can see each song begin and end during, like, the Taylor Swift concert. So it's fun. We would never want to intercompare, you know, the 12s to the Swifties. They both shake the stadium in their own special way.
So we're not going to know who shook it more.
Yeah, we're just not going to exactly make that intercomparison. I will say during halftime of the game last Saturday, there was Lil Jon playing, and we can see that somewhere in there. You've got that graphic of our whole game seismogram going, and you can see the rhythmicness of the halftime show. That looks different from all of the touchdown runs and so on.
That's so fun to be able to see that actually translated out like that, and see that, you know, on a scale. Well, anything else you think people should know just about all this work that you do? I mean, they're at the stadium and just in general.
Yeah, no, I mean, just two things. One is, yes, earthquakes really happen in the Pacific Northwest, so don't forget to prepare for them. And two, you know, go Seahawks.
All right, Harold, thank you very much for joining us. Always appreciate your time on here, and that's just so fun, and I can't wait to see what happens this weekend.
All right, take care now.
All right, thanks. And for everybody watching, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. By the way, that Seahawks game is going to be right here on Fox 12 as well. We will have that, and we'll see what happens. Maybe seismic activity, hopefully a Super Bowl trip is going to be on the horizon there. But we'll find out this Sunday. But thanks for joining us. This is Fox 12 Now. We're live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. We will talk to you soon with more.